I grew up in Wisconsin, which is a northern U.S. state, with a lot of forest, so oftentimes I would hear tales around the campfire of Yetis, Sasquatch, Bigfoot, and the wild man of the woods. As for my part, I've been open-minded to the existence of the paranormal because from an early age, I've witnessed many strange things in the sky and on the ground. For whatever reason, the paranormal has been my normal. In my 20s to mid-30s, I lived in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex and worked in radio and television production. At the time, it was a good place to be for my career, but I found I frequently needed to get away from the hectic urban environment to camp, hike, canoe, rock climb, etc. in nature. Eventually, I decided to buy some remote wilderness land that was in good proximity to all the things I loved to do and build a getaway there. I found 10 acres high atop a mountain ridge in southeastern Oklahoma that overlooked a densely forested valley. I built a small cabin there with a deck that overlooked the valley, and for a number of years, it was my refuge in nature and launching point for many adventures with my friends. However, in the beginning, while the cabin was under construction, I would often need to make solo trips to deliver construction supplies or work on the property. The only access was by a steep logging road, so neighbors were few and privacy was assured. So it was that I found myself up on the mountain enjoying the quiet solitude one late October day. The trees were shedding their leaves, and the air was crisp, and had just finished cooking dinner in the cabin, with plans to eat it on the deck while enjoying the sunset. As I exited the cabin and out onto the deck, I was hit by a strange, overpowering smell carried by the evening breeze. The best way to describe it was to say it was a combination of body odor, urine, and skunk spray, with a little rotting meat thrown in for good measure. It was so strong I immediately lost my appetite. At the same time, I was very concerned, as bears and mountain lions inhabited this area, and whatever it was, the strength of the odor indicated it was close by. I put my plate of food back in the cabin and grabbed my rifle, making sure it was loaded. I returned to the deck and tried to get a bearing on where the smell was coming from. Soon I heard a rustling in the leaves and the snapping of twigs. Whatever it was coming closer. It didn't sound like an animal, but a very big person walking on two legs. There was an old mountain man who lived a couple of miles further up the ridge who occasionally stopped by to swap stories and see if I needed a hand with anything. I thought it might be him tracking an animal, so as the sounds came ever closer, I called out to hopefully have him respond and set my mind at ease. The footsteps stopped, but there was no answer. Instead, I felt the strangest sensation in my mind. The best way I can describe it is to say it felt like someone was inside my head, looking at my memories, while at the same time asking the question,
"Who are you? Where do you come from? Why are you here?"
For the record, these questions were not formed in words. It was a strong impression I had they were being asked of me. I responded to the questions by thinking the answers. I'm just a guy who loves nature, but has to live in the city for my job. My friends and I come here occasionally to get away from civilization and commune with Mother Nature. I could feel the creature looking and intensely studying me from his or her hiding place. I decided to ask the questions back to the creature. Who are you? Where do you come from? Why are you here? Immediately I felt an angry response, not in words, but a strong impression.
"This is my home for ages, for ages, for ages."
Suddenly I felt like I was the trespasser. It occurred to me that the noise I had been making constructing my cabin might be frightening the animals away this creature required for food. I sent a mental apology and feelings of regret for any disturbance of his life. Much to my surprise, I sensed approval, as if he was happy with my response. The best way I can describe it is to say, it felt he was communicating something like,
"You're okay. I can tolerate you in my home."
I felt a great sense of relief and wonder at what had just happened. Now the footsteps and breaking twigs began to move away and the smell began to lessen. I felt a little sad that the encounter was apparently over. The next day I searched for evidence that my visitor may have left behind, but all I found was disturbed leaves and broken twigs. I never told the authorities about my experience. However, several weeks later, the local paper published several stories of locals who had caught a glimpse of a large, hairy, bipedal creature in the woods, each noting the strong odor present at the time. You might wonder what this has to do with metagenesis. I told this story to illustrate a point. Being open-minded to the idea there is much more to existence than authority figures allow is essential to having extraordinary experiences. All creatures that live upon the earth and in the seas are earthlings. Some may be less technologically inclined, but that doesn't mean they're less intelligent. You can't measure the intelligence of a creature by the parameters of another. Imagine if you were highly telepathic, what technology you would carry inside of you. Communication devices would be completely unnecessary, as you have the ability to send and receive mental thoughts and pictures to anyone, anywhere. In short, by developing psychic abilities, you'd forego the need for technological devices. Now, for my fellow humans who are stuck in a technocratic nightmare, I conclude by saying that being of higher consciousness means opening your mind to worlds inside worlds, realities above realities, and possibilities beyond any and all limitations. You will discover the more your mind expands, the more amazing your experiences become. You become the master of your reality and creator of your future. You know the answers to the questions,
Who are you? Where do you come from? Why are you here?
This is the power of metagenesis.
Hey everybody, check out these amazing books by Daniel Wolfert, available on Amazon.com.
Don't delay, get your copy today.